Here's how to really cash in on this year. Get serious. Life is serious. We're here to instruct. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to get the best we possibly can. Serious. Life is serious. The future serious. How come such a difference from those who can reach such incredible heights and those who haven't yet found the answers for their life and their health and their future? We just have to ponder that and let that give us a note of seriousness. A note of seriousness. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not want. I'm asking you to take it serious. Take your own future serious. What you can do for your family. Take it serious. This is serious business. So that's the first thing I want to bring to you. To have the best year ever. This year gets serious. You know, study, learn, grow, change, develop. Never let it be said you didn't learn. Right? Do you want to solve your problem? You gotta learn. You want to take advantage of an opportunity? You gotta learn. We can't come here just give you the marketing plan, give you the products and your home. We got to stay for a while, learn. Stay for a while. Put on those cassettes and stay for a while. Learn from your own experience, right? So the call didn't go well. All the stuff, guess what they did? When they finished that call, they made another call. What else did we do to make it better? How could we possibly improve? This is called the possibility for life. Change starts with education. Don't be lazy and learning. Don't be lazy and picking up the ideas. Don't be lazy and learning from your own experience. That's why you've heard from some people that have shared their testimonial here and given you some of their ideas. Ways and means. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of life change. Do some learning. Take it back home to have your best year ever. Make your dreams come true. Get smart. A few simple disciplines. Practice every day. And you started a whole new process called a whole new life. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits and with your communication habits, with your sales habits, management habits, and every other habit, if you start that process, eliminate the errors and replace it with disciplined practice. I'm telling you to start this process of life change immediately after today. You don't ever have to be the same again, only by choice, errors, and judgment. Disaster. Few simple disciplines well beyond imagine it. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you and start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy, work on your attitude, work on your personality, work on your language, work on the gift of communication. Work on all of your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change for you. Work on yourself. Then you bring more value to the partnership, to the marriage, to the franchise, to the corporation, to the enterprise, to the community, to the nation. Self-development, personal development. The best contribution you can make to someone else. Self-development, not hasty if it isn't required. But don't lose much time. Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong, that's the time to act. Don't use the excuses they use. It's called the language of the poor. Switch gears, switch language. Switch ideas, switch strategy. Start with the simplest of disciplines. And don't be mean any of these disciplines. The smallest of disciplines starts the process of life change. And if you'll invest in this thing called discipline, you can have whatever you wish, called the beginning of miracle. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. What a clear message that was for me. He said if you'll change your philosophy, you'll change your habits. If you'll refine your thinking, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future. He said all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change. Here's what we must learn to do. I didn't go to work to try to change circumstances. I went to work to try to change myself. And I picked up that promise my teacher shared with me. That if I would change, my income would change. If I would change, my bank account would change. If I would change, my future would change. And sure enough, his promise came true for me. You know, the companies were about the same. What they paid was the same. Circumstances around me were the same. You know, my negative relatives were the same. But I was not the same. That's how my life changed. Things started working for me. Changing my life all those years ago. We don't have to change what's going on out there. That's the wine that's blowing. All we have to do is change what's going on in here. And now there's several ways to do that. The first subject he called personal development. We must learn from personal experience. Pretty simple, learn from what happens to you. Take a look back over the last few months. Did you make some mistakes? How could you correct those for the future? Take a look back over the last year. Have you done it right or done it wrong? Let's correct it for the next year. Mr. Shelf asked me when I first met him. Said, Mr. On, how are you doing? You've been out there now 6 years. And I said, I'm not doing very well, he said. I suggest you not do that anymore. What a simple, swift analysis to my situation. Is that if you keep doing it, the next 6 years will be like the last 6. You don't want that to happen. Let's make the changes. So learn from your personal experience. Second, other people's experiences. That's me, other people, that your teacher, that your friends and colleagues, the people you meet, that can pass along to you their experiences. What's happened to them, the mistakes they made, how they corrected them, how they changed their health, and changed their bank account, and changed their income, and changed their future. Other people. Now there's 2 kinds of people to learn from. One is failures. It's 2 bad failures. Don't give seminars, right? That would be valuable. Have them tell you how they lost it all and threw it all away, threw their health away, threw their friendships away, and things didn't work out well. That would be valuable. But now, then we must also learn from positive people that have done well. They've got the health, and so we ask them, how did you become so healthy? They've got the skills, so we ask them, how did you become this skillful? They've got the income, so we ask them, how did you get here in such a short period of time? So now here's what's important in personal development. In learning from other people is don't give seminars, right? That would be valuable. Have them tell you how they lost it all and threw it all away, threw their health away, threw their friendships away, and things didn't work out well. That would be valuable. But now, then we must also learn from positive people that have done well. They've got the health, and so we ask them, how did you become so healthy? They've got the skills, so we ask them, how did you become this skillful? They've got the income, so we ask them, how did you get here in such a short period of time? So now here's what's important in personal development. In learning from other people, we learn 1. By observation. We learn what we see. We watch people that are successful in what they do. In sports, we watch their disciplines. In business, we watch their disciplines. Second, we learn by what we hear. Learn by listening. And then listen to the sermon on Sunday morning. Listen to the lectures. Listen to the teacher. Listen to someone who's got something good to say. And then 3 is vitally important on personal development. And that is read all the books. All the books you can possibly read in your lifetime. Mr. Shelf got me started on my library. I've got one of the better libraries. And then I started keeping a journal. One of the major things my teacher taught me was to keep a journal. He said, don't trust your memory. If you hear something good, just make a little note, write it down. So I would suggest you do the same. Things that impress you, a poem that impresses you. And when you attend the class, some of the ideas that impress you, jot them down. You read something in a magazine, right? Some ideas, take those out. Put them in your journal. Keep a good journal the rest of your life. This will serve you well. So I want the same thing to happen to you. Value capture. But you can resort to later. Go back over it, review it, and let it become valuable to you. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Develop the skills, learn the lessons. Take the classes. Absorb all that is being taught to you these days. And then later on, of course, you can sort it out what's valuable to you and how to refine it for your business and for your life and for your future. The main thing is to get and start this process of personal change. Now let's cover the second setting goals. We need to take a look into the future. There are 4 things to consider in terms of attitude. 1 is how you feel about the past. Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes, but let the past be a school. Tough school lady. We've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it or experience and let it teach you. The next is how you feel about the future. We've got to have the future. World is on. The future is called the promise. The promise of the future can be an awesome force. Designing the future. There's 2 ways to face the future. 1 is with apprehension, and the other is with anticipation. I promise you, in my travels around the world, most people face the future with apprehension. And here's why: they don't have it well designed. They've sort of left that up to someone else to fix. But here's the best way to face the future. With anticipation. You can face the future with anticipation. If the future is clear, if the future is well designed. In setting goals, it's very simple. No one decide what you want. You just take a little time. You sit down and say, what do I want? What kind of skills do I want? What kind of income do I want for the future? Where would I like to go? Places I'd like to visit. Habits I'd like to acquire. Skills I'd like to have. Economics, friendships. People get like to meet. When you thought about what you want for the future, make a list. If the future gets clear, the price gets easy. Because you gotta remember, for every promise, there's a price to pay. Everybody's gotta pay the price. Everybody's gotta do the deal. Everybody's gotta do the discipline. But here's what I've discovered. If the promise is clear and powerful, the price is easy to pay. The price is some classic. The price is a few books. The price is a few discipline. The price is finding something that will make your life better. Make you grow, make you change, make you develop. So the first part of the key is to design the promise. Then what is the price to pay? I'm telling you, the price will be easy. If you'll make the promise of the future clear. For yourself, all of the values of life that you could possibly want. And be serious about it, I promise you, it's an easy price to pay. Anybody can pay it. And the best advice I can give you is, if I can do it, start setting your goals. And see if you can get a better excitement going. For the things you want to accomplish for the future. One of the major reasons for setting goals is for what they make of you. In achieving. My teacher advised me when I first got started. At age 25, he said, "Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? I'm here to help you." And he said, "Here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve." So part of the key here is to set the kind of goals that will make something of you. Don't set them too low so that you don't have to grow. And you don't have to read. You don't have to try. And you don't have to stretch. Don't set them too low. And then don't sell out. Don't go for something that's gonna cost your virtue or cost you your values. Or sell out your principles. There's a good middle road here to follow. Goals that will inspire, goals that will help you grow, change, develop, and become better than you. So if you want something to pull you through all kinds of challenges, all kinds of difficulties, and things that come at you, you gotta have something on out there beyond today. Beyond next week, beyond next month. Beyond this year that pulls you into the future. And the clearer it is, the stronger it pulls. The more dynamic it is, the more it affects your life, your spirit, your heart, your soul. It also creates imagination. It gets your mind working on how to achieve that purpose. And if your mind will work, and if your heart works, and if your spirit works, and if you have good input, like good ideas, I'm telling you, there isn't anything you can become. Ideas gather dust, you know. They don't produce at all by themselves. It's like philosophy is not the end. Philosophy is the beginning. Philosophy must be invested. When I talked about philosophy, attitude, and disciplines, they must be invested. And if you invest philosophy and attitude and discipline, then they produce results. Here's a good phrase: wisdom uninvested in labor is wasted. Attitude, even the highest of attitude, which is faith. Faith uninvested is wasted. Produces nothing. So the name of the game is not faith. The name of the game is not philosophy. The name of the game is to put philosophy into activity, so that it starts making progress. Turning nothing into something. Let me give you that formula while I'm on it here. Turning nothing into something. How do you do that? How do you turn nothing into something? Here's how you start. There's 3 steps to it. No. 1, imagination. And try to imagine yourself in those new, worthwhile, unique positions. So imagination starts to change everything. Now imagination is not tangible, but it is almost real. Almost real, it's not real, but it's almost real. But it's hard to say that imagination is nothing. But it's nothing in terms of tangible. It's not tangible yet. And you always have to say imagination is not tangible yet. But it is the beginning of turning nothing into something. It's the beginning of turning nothing into reality. Imagination. Imagination is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. Imagination is real in the sense that it affects. It'll affect your behavior. It'll affect your enthusiasm. It'll affect your emotions. It's real in that sense, but it's not real in the tangible sense. Next is faith. To believe that what you imagine is possible. How would we start to strengthen our belief in that? What we imagine is possible, to turn it into reality. And there's 3 ways. 1 is to believe your own testimony. If you've done it before, why couldn't you do it again? If you've done it once, couldn't you do it the second time? Why not believe in your own testimonial? If I did it before, I can do it again. And that's what's important about personal development. You can lose the money, but not the skills. Who cares about the money? It's like sales is a skill is more valuable in a sale. Sometimes a salesperson. I need a sale, said no. You need a skill. Sales or temporary skills are permanent. Now we move to faith, to believe that what we imagine is possible. So we study our own testimonies. We've done it before, we can do it again. Here's what else we study. Other testimonials of somebody who did it. Somebody that built a hotel said, I started with some plans and finally believed it was possible. And here it is, say, well, if it's possible for one, it's possible for another. In fact, sometimes when we hear the testimonial, how they finished, if I can do it. You can do it, see that. That's a classic testimonial. That gives us now what we call faith. And one of the ancient wise writers said, faith is generated by what we hear. The vocabulary of what we hear. Of the vocabulary of what we read. That generates faith to believe that it's possible. Now, faith is not reality. But you can't say faith is nothing, because it affects. It's like radiation to us. It's nothing, because it can't be seen. Right? You can't see it, but it has an incredible effect. And that's true of faith. Faith can't be seen. Right, with the natural eye. Can't be seen, but it has an incredible effect on your attitude. on your behavior, on your discipline, on your work for the day, and all the rest. Here's what one writer described faith as: a substance of hope. Now it's not a substance like a brick being a piece of the hotel, but it's almost. It's so close, it's substance. And the writer also said, it's so close, it's evidence. Now, not evidence. You can see the tangible evidence. That's just as real as all of our human experiences. That can't be touched, can't be seen. It's called the unseen magic. Language is the unseen magic. It can't be seen, the words can't be seen, as they're transmitted from the speaker to the one who listens, but it can have a profound effect. That means it's more than nothing. Language is more than nothing. But to create something out of nothing, we start with imagination, then we move to faith, which believes it's possible, which is almost real. But now here's what we do with faith and imagination. We deposit it in disciplines and activity. Because faith without the activity serves no useful purpose. Imagination without the activity, to translate it into reality, serves no purpose. But wisdom and faith deposited in activity creates reality, the reality of a career, the reality of a hotel that wasn't there. Now here's all you got to do is turn that around. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. A few simple disciplines practiced every day starts to create success, not at the end of the first day. The first day is the end of a new beginning. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the least action. The action that you won't think will matter. It all matters, take it. Because when you start accomplishing, and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But for this whole process to work for us, we must first master the art of discipline. Self-discipline, consistent self-discipline. It doesn't really matter how smart you are, how much you know if you don't use it. It doesn't really matter that you graduated, magna cum laude, if you're stuck in a low-paying job. It doesn't really matter if you attended every seminar that comes to town, if you don't apply what you've learned. Better than knowledge is applied knowledge. And once we've applied our knowledge, we must study the results of that process. Apply our knowledge, study the results. Refine our approach. Finally, by trying and observing and refining and trying again, our knowledge will inevitably produce worthy results, admirable results. And with the joy and results of our efforts, we continue to apply, to learn, to observe, to fuel our ambition. With the positive reinforcement of continued progress, pretty soon we'll find that we're swept into a spiral of achievement, a vertical rise to success. It takes consistent self-discipline to master the art of setting goals, to master the art of time management, to master the art of leadership, to master the art of parenting and relationships. If we don't make consistent self-discipline part of our daily lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and elusive. It takes a consistent effort to truly manage our valuable time, or we'll be consistently frustrated. Our time will be eaten up by others, whose demands are stronger than our own. Open to conquer the nagging voices in our minds. The fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of poverty, the fear of a broken heart, It takes discipline to keep trying. When that nagging voice within us brings up the possibility of failure. It takes discipline to admit our errors and recognize our limitations. The voice of the human ego speaks to all of us. Sometimes the voice of ego says that we should magnify our value beyond our results. It leads us to exaggerate, to not be totally honest. It takes discipline to be totally honest, both with ourselves and with others. It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable. They act like a nearly unbreakable instinct that only long-term discipline activity can change. You just gotta go home and make a list after today. And here's the question to ask as you make this personal list. What am I not doing that would be easy to do? That could greatly change my health, my wealth. What am I not doing I'm neglecting? That would be easy to do. Just go home and answer that question. You don't have to put the answers on a board. This is just all personal stuff. But here's how you get a miracle going for your life. One, do what you can. Get a list of the stuff you could do and you haven't done. Postpone and start cleaning that up. You can't start at a better place for personal change. It'll affect your bank account, affect your future, affect your income, affect everything. You can't start a better life change process than cleaning up what you should be doing. The man says, my mother lives down in Florida. Should have written her 6 months ago. I just can't seem to get that letter written. I'm asking you to get that letter written. Clean that up and don't walk like other people walk. Don't postpone like other people postpone. You say, is it as simple as writing a letter? And the answer is yes. Where else would you start for life change? Personal change now. Here's the second part of the miracle. One is do what you can. Here's do the best you can. If that's not your philosophy, I would ask you to amend it. Let me give you the best of ancient script. Here's what it says. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. Do it with all your strength and do it with all your power. What a good philosophy. That kind of philosophy revolutionize your life if you haven't picked it up. Guy slips and late come. He doesn't seem to mind slips out early. First one in the parking lot. Heading for happy hour, stretches his break. Comes early for lunch, late back from lunch. Company doesn't seem to notice. Guy says, best as I can calculate. I'm putting in about a half a day's work. And I'm collecting a full day's pay. Little does he know, the seeds of his own disaster are already being sowed by the weakness of his own personal philosophy. It's not the economy that's going to determine your next 6 years. It's your philosophy about labor and about activity, and about miracle and soil and seeds, sunshine and rain and the economy, and the banks and the money, and the companies and the schools and what's going on. It's your philosophy and your attitude, and then your ability to take action. All of that we call the process of life change. Miracle working. Consistent self-discipline. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong. Clear, powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred. Right, I need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes. And before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book, start the library. Start the process, fall on the floor. Do some push UPS action, gotta take action. Otherwise the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise the emotion soon passes. Unless you put it into a discipline activity. Capture disciplines is called how to capture the emotion and how to capture the wisdom and translate it into equity disciplines. You start walking around the block. It'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple. That'll inspire you to get a book. It'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal. It'll inspire you to grow. Develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new. And you start a whole new life process also. One more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline: self-worth. Self-esteem. People teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to disciplines. Police lack of discipline, and it starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit. Right. To the slightest lack of doing your best starts to roll the psyche. Instead of doing your best, just a little less than your best, sure enough, you say, well, it's just gonna affect myself. No, it's gonna affect your consciousness. It's gonna affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And one neglect leads to another. And the worst of all, one neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value. You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that now corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me, so that I will have the sorry scenarios. Secure from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay, let's get kids involved in the least of disciplines. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life, into which you can pour more wisdom, and more attitude, and more strong feeling, more faith, and more courage. Now you got something, a vessel in which to put in, and now the equities start to flow, and the early return. I'm telling you, if you start this process, the early return will have you so excited. You'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old ways. Join a new crowd, join a new group. The disciplines to do, take action. Now here's the other side of discipline. If there's considerable time that passes between the moment of awareness and the time of our implementation, then that is called procrastination. Procrastination, doing it tomorrow instead of today. Procrastination, an almost exact opposite of discipline. The voice within us says, get it done. Discipline then says, do it now. Do it to the best of your ability today, tomorrow, and always, until finally the worthy deed becomes instinctive. Procrastination says later, tomorrow, whenever I get a chance. Procrastination also says, do what is necessary to get by or to impress others. Do what you can, but not what you must. In every circumstance we face, we are constantly presented with these two choices: do it now or do it later, discipline and procrastination. A choice between a disciplined existence, bearing the fruit of achievement and contentment, or procrastination, the easy life for which the future will bear no fruit, only the bare branches of mediocrity. The rewards of a disciplined life are great, but they're often delayed until sometime in the future. The rewards for the lack of discipline are immediate, but they are minor in comparison to the immeasurable rewards of consistent self-discipline. An immediate reward for lack of discipline is a fun day at the beach. A future reward of discipline is owning the beach. For most, we choose today's pleasure rather than tomorrow's fortune. So how can you get rid of the easy distractions? How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you keep an attitude of doing it all and doing it now How can you make the choice of discipline over procrastination? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? How can you avoid conversations at the water cooler? You can keep your focus on your work. You can get it done today instead of tomorrow. Got to really work on your consistent self-discipline, or you'll find yourself distracted. Distracted by negative thoughts. Distracted by negative people. Distracted by water cooler chatter. And pretty soon, depending on the type of people you've associated with, distracted by your doubts within yourself. Never underestimate the power of influence and associations. And never underestimate the power of your own consistent self-discipline. Now let's take a closer look at discipline. After 3 steps to becoming disciplined. First, true discipline is not the easiest option. Most people would rather sleep until 10 o'clock, then get up at 6. It's easier to go to bed late, sleep late, show up late, leave early. It's easier not to read. It's easier to turn on the television than to open a book. It's easier to do just enough than to do it all. Waiting is always easier than acting. Trying is always easier than doing. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have to make our bed in the morning, or keep our garage clean, or pay our taxes, or show up for work tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we didn't have to do these things? Wouldn't it be fascinating? What do you suppose would become of us? You're right. Not much. For whatever the reason, the system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Profitable seems to be the most difficult. Our world is, and always will be, a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards, and the life of discipline and its far more significant rewards. Each has its own price. The price of discipline or the price of regret. The second lesson of discipline is that it's a full-time activity. You see, the discipline that it takes to make your bed every day is the same discipline necessary for success in the world of business. The discipline to organize your garage is the same discipline to organize your business. All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? Pretty soon the lazy side will creep in and destroy the disciplined side. The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Discipline is the mind being trained to control our lives. Discipline is a set of standards which we've selected as a personal code of conduct.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is